Hello good people, and welcome back. So in the last video, this is unit 5 still, and in the last video what we did is we started talking about strategies using options, and we looked essentially at three different set of strategies. The first one that we looked at was the option only. The second one was the principal protected note. That's the ones where we took a long position in the bond, and also in the call option. And we also looked at combinations of stocks and options. So we looked at covered call, and that is essentially what we had here: covered call and protective put strategies. This was our protective put strategies. And what we're going to do next is we're going to look at spreads. And what spreads really are, if we go back all the way up here, what spreads really are, they are combinations of two or more options of the same type. And this is key here, of the same type. The idea would be for us to take a long and a short position in either a call or a put. Okay, and this position that we'll be taking will be at two different strike price, but it will be the same underlying and the same maturity. So if we did that, and we expected the value of the line to increase, we would be essentially setting up what's referred to as a bull spread strategy. And that bull spread strategy using call option, it would essentially look as like this. So the first position we'll be taking is a long call. You remember that the long call has a profile that looks something like that. So our long call will be this. And so we'll be taking a long call, and what we see with this chart is that we'll be taking a long call at the strike price K1. So long is going to have a strike price K1. That's going to be our strike price on our long call. At the same time, remember we're using two options, two call options, long one and short second one. So our long has a strike price K1, and our short call is essentially going to have a different strike price, and that strike price would be the following. And strike price for the short would be K2. So the long call is going to have a strike price K1, where the short call is going to have a strike price K2. And what we see here is that for a bull spread, K2 has to be greater than K1. That is, the short call is going to have a longer, a higher strike price than the long call. Now the overall profile for this strategy is going to be what we have here in the red line here. That is a combination of both the long call with the lower strike price and the short call with the higher strike price. So now what is the payoff of this strategy? Well, the payoff of this strategy is going to depend on where the stock price ends up being. So again, remember that we are working on the same underlying here. We just have two call options and the same maturity, just two different strike prices. So we can break this in three different regions. We can break this in the first region, that is where the stock price is between 0 and K1. The second region, where the stock price is between K1 and K2. And the third region, when the stock price is above K2. So to do that, we're going to go back to our board, and we're going to replicate that bull spread graph. So our bull spread is going to look something like this, and we're going to have the long call with the low strike price, and then we're going to have the short call with the high strike price, so this is going to be our first strike price K1, and this is going to be our second strike price K2, and that was our long call, and this was essentially our short call. And the strategy that we are replicating here is a bull spread using calls. Okay, so let's split this into 3 sections. That's going to be the first section here, the second section, and then the third one. And let's remember which one of the contracts it is that we are working with. Always remember that the long call has a lower strike price and the short call has a higher strike price. So our stock price can be between 0 and K1, that is this first window, or it can be between K1 and K2, that is that second window, or it can be between K2 and infinity, right? So it can be over this last window. That's for the stock price itself. Now, what is the payoff of the long call if the stock price is between 0 and K1? Now, the long call has a strike price of K1, and the short call has a strike price of K2. Now, remember what the payoff of the call option is. Well, the payoff of the call option is the maximum of, as for a long call, I should say, is a maximum of stock price minus strike price and 0. That's the payoff of a long call. The payoff of the short call is just the negative of the payoff of a long, so it's going to minus the maximum of the stock price minus strike price and 0. That's the payoff of the short call. Alright, so the way I like to present this is by actually putting the stock price where I think about it being. So in this case, I think that the stock price might be here. So that's my ST, this is my stock price, and this is my stock price. Okay, so for the long call, if the stock price is below the strike price, the option is essentially out of the money, right? Because the payoff is going to be, remember we're working with a long call, so it's going to be ST here minus K. Because ST is lower than strike price, this is going to be a negative value, and we have 0. So the maximum of a negative value and 0 is going to be 0. The option is out of the money, it's not going to be exercised, so the long call payoff is 0 here. Now, if the stock price is between K1 and K2, that is, the stock price is somewhere here, we have for the long call, we have a stock price that's greater than the strike price. Remember, for the long call, the strike price is K1. So the stock price is going to be greater than the strike price, so the payoff in this case is going to be stock price minus the strike price, which is K1. And finally, if the stock price is above the strike price of the short call, that is above K2, what we have is a scenario where we know that K1 is less than K2 anyway. So any stock price that's above K1 would result in a positive payoff, and the stock price here is above K2 and K2 is above K1, so the payoff is also ST minus K1 here. Alright, let's look at the short call. Now, with the short call, what we have is something very similar. Now, when the stock price is between K1 and between 0 and K1, that is, we are over here. Remember, we have a short call, and I like to think of a short call as a negative of the long call. Well, what does that mean for us? Well, what that means is if the stock price is right here between 0 and K1, the short call position would be minus the maximum of the ST minus K2, because we are working with the strike price and 0. Now, ST is below K1, which means it's also below K2, which means that this value here is going to be negative. So it's going to be a negative value, right? That's going to be a negative value. So it is a negative value. So the maximum of this negative value in 0 is going to be 0. And so if you take minus 0, you're still going to have 0. So the payoff here for our short call when the stock price is between 0 and K1 is also going to be equal to 0. So we can simply have 0 here. We do the same thing for the second option. In the second option, what do we have? In the second option, we have a stock price that's between K1 and K2. So if the stock price is between K1 and K2, what we're going to have is the following. We're going to have minus the maximum of the stock price minus K2 as well as 0. That's what we're going to have here. Okay, so at this point, what do we have? Stock price is still below K2 because we are right here. And so because the stock price is still below K2, what do we have? We have this here that's a negative value. The maximum of a negative value and 0 is 0. Minus 0 is 0. So the payoff here is also going to be 0. Now, when the stock price is above K2, what do we have? Well, again, minus the maximum of, that is the stock price minus K2 and 0. Now, K2 and 0, K2 is above, the stock price in this case is above K2, which means that this is a positive value. So the maximum of a positive value and 0 is going to be the positive value. And so we're going to take the negative of it. So the payoff here is going to be equal to minus ST minus K2. That's going to be our payoff there. And so overall, because we have these two positions simultaneously, our total is going to be the following. Well, if the stock price is below K1, our payoff for this position is going to be 0, right? That's the sum of these two. The sum of our long call and our short call. So our payoff is going to be equal to 0. If the stock price is between K1, which is the strike price of our long call, and K2, which is the strike price of our short call, our payoff is going to be ST minus K1. That is our position there, our payoff. Now, if the stock price is above K2, which is this last scenario, our payoff is essentially going to be ST minus K1, which is what we have here, plus this value that we have here. That's going to be minus ST minus K2. Now, we can essentially remove these parentheses. So if I get rid of the parentheses here, I'm going to put a plus sign here. And I'm going to get rid of that parenthesis. What does that do for me? That cancels out this ST plus ST minus ST cancel out. So I can get rid of this and I can get rid of that. There was a negative sign in front of K2 here. K1 here, right? Because this negative sign, that doesn't go away. So that negative sign stays there. And this is what we're going to have. So our payoff here is essentially going to be equal to K2 minus K1. So I can clear this up and say this is going to be equal to K2 minus K1, which is the strike price of the short call minus the strike price of the long call. That would be the payoff that we have to work with. Now let's look at a quick example of this. Well, let's consider a bull spread strategy where we do the following. What we're going to do is we're going to take a long position in the call option, and that call option is going to have a strike price K1 that's equal to 30. That's our K1. And let's say we pay that call option at a premium. So call option 1 is going to be paid at $3 per option. And simultaneously, we're going to take a short call. Remember, our bull spread is long call, short call, where the short call has a higher strike price. So our short call is going to be using K2 as a strike price. And let's say K2 is at 35. And the second option is essentially bringing in a premium of $1. So for the long call, we are buying the call, which means we have to pay $3 for a premium. And for the short call, we are selling a call. We have to we're receiving a dollar for as a premium. What is the payoff in this case? Well, the payoff in this case is going to depend on where the stock price is, and that's simply going to replicate what we have up there. So let's say the stock price can be below the strike price of the long call, below 30. The stock price can also be between 30 stock price and 35, which is the second scenario, and the stock price can be greater than 35. That's the last scenario that we have there. Now, what we have here is the payoff of our long call. This is going to be our long call, and we're going to have our short call, and we're going to have our total. Now we just learned that our bull spread is going to have a payoff that's going to be equal to 0 for a long call if the stock price is below the strike price. So our payoff here is going to be equal to 0 because the option is not going to be exercised. Remember, that's our long call. If the stock price is below 30, why would we pay 30 for a stock that's trading for less than 30? So we're not going to exercise. It's going to be equal to 0. If the stock price is above 30, however, that long call is going to be exercised. So the payoff is going to be equal to stock price minus 30, which is our strike price. Now we shouldn't have the equal sign here. The equal sign should be here because this is the strike price for the short call. So it really doesn't matter for a long call where the stock price is, so long as it's above the strike price, and that's when we're exercising the option. Now, even if the stock price is equal to the strike price, we may not be interested in exercising the option. So actually, maybe we should have that here, because at this point, when the stock price is equal to the strike price, we're not exercising the option. As soon as the stock price exceeds the strike price, then the option becomes interesting. Then we consider exercising the option. Okay. So that is the second scenario. And the third scenario is when the stock price is above the strike price of the short call. In this case, we also exercise, so that's ST minus 35. Alright, so that is for the long call. How about the short call? Well, for the short call, what did we have? We had a short call has a strike price of 35, that's K2. So if we're below there, we're going to have a payoff of 0. We're going to have a payoff of 0 here as well, because the stock price is going to be below the strike price. And remember, the strike price for the short call is K2, and the strike price for the long call is K1. And finally, the strike price, the payoff for the short call, if the stock price is above the strike price, is essentially going to be equal to minus the stock price minus the strike price, which is 35. Now, the idea here, again, for this last scenario with the short call, is that as soon as the stock price goes past 35, the holder of this call option at the strike price K2 is going to exercise that option. And as soon as the holder exercises the option, the payoff is the negative of what that long call is actually earning on this transaction. And so overall, what do we have? Overall, our total is going to be as follows. We're going to have 0 here as a payoff if the stock price is less than $30. If the stock price is between 30 and 35, our payoff is going to be whatever the stock price is minus 30. And if our stock price is above 35, our payoff is essentially going to be equal to, I shouldn't have 35 here actually, I should have 30. Because this is the strike price 1, that's K1, so this should be 30, not 35. So as soon as the stock price goes above 35, what we should have here is going to be the following. K2 minus K1, and K2 again is 35 minus K1, which is 30. So let's say that the stock price turns out to be 33. So if ST is equal to 33, the bull spread would have a payoff that's equal. 33 would lie right in here. The bull spread would have a payoff of ST, which is 33 minus the strike price of the long call, which is 30. And so that payoff would be $3. Now, this is a payoff. We have not accounted for the cost of the strategy. Now, it cost us essentially $3 to purchase the long call. So we're going to subtract the $3 of our purchase of the long call here. So that's going to be our cost for the long call. And in addition to that, we sold a call at $1. So we're going to add back the $1 that we got for the call. So plus 1. And the net is essentially going to be $1. And that's going to be our profit. And that's going to be $1 per share. Now, what we can do with this data that we have on the profit is we can generalize what the profit would be for each one of these scenarios, 1, 2, and 3. So what would that profit look like? Well, remember, we are buying a call. We have the payoff. These are payoff. And to find the profit, we need to subtract the cost of the option from the payoff. So in this case, we are buying our calls here at $3, and then we are selling a call at $1. So the net here is going to be, the net premium is going to be minus 3 plus 1, that's going to be minus 2. So to find our profit, what we need to do is we need to take the payoff and subtract the profit from the payoff, subtract the premium from the payoff, right? So in this case, we're going to have 0 minus 3 plus 1. In this case, we have ST minus 30 minus 3 plus 1. And here we're going to have 35 minus 30 plus minus 3 plus 1. And what this is essentially the following. This is going to be equal to minus 2. This is going to be equal to 32. Right? That's minus 32. So ST minus 32. And this is essentially going to be equal to 32. So it's going to be 35 minus 32. And so 35 minus 32, so that's going to be equal to minus 3. And so that is going what we 35 minus 32, so that's plus 3, not minus 3. Plus 3. So that's essentially what we're going to have. So if we wanted to draw our profit curve or profit chart here, what are we going to have? Well, let's draw that together here. This is our profit and this is our stock price. Now we just said that K1 was at 30, so this is 30. K2 is at 35, so that's 35. And when the stock price is below, so this is our profit and this is our stock price. When the stock price is below 30, our profit is minus 2. So it doesn't matter, we are losing $2 if the stock price is below 30. So below 30 minus 2, let's say this is minus 2, we're going to be here, which means that at this point we're going to be losing $2 until we get to 30. That's where we would be, minus 2. between 30 and 35, we're going to get the difference between 30, between the stock price and 32, which means that to have a profit of 0, we can set this equal to 0 and we can solve for stock. And so stock price is equal to 32. If the stock price is equal to 32, if ST is equal to 32, then the profit is equal to 0. So 0 here or 32 here is where this is going to hit this point here. And we're going to have 32 here. Now, if the stock price is above 35, our profit is essentially going to be equal to 3. So let's say that's 3. 1, 2, and 3. Let's say that's 3 here, and we are plus 3. So our profit is going to look something like this. And above 35 is going to be 3 forever, so that's going to be $3 here. And that would be our bull spread. Now, if we look at the slides, that's essentially what we have here for our bull spread. Now, what is this? What is this break even? This break even is essentially what we have here, which is the difference between the stock price and the strike price K2. The strike price K1, that's the strike price of the first option, minus the profit, minus the net premium, and that net premium is the cost of the option, the short call, the cost of the long call. I have it here. That's the cost of the long call and the revenue from the short call. And so that it would be our break even, that point here, and this is our break even point where we have a profit of 0. So profit is equal to 0 at that point. And so this is essentially what we will have for break even, and we would have our flat profit above K2 at this point. Now we could also construct a bull spread using put option, and the scenario would be essentially the same. So with the bull spread using put options this time, what do? Well, we take 2 positions in put options. The first position that we're going to take in put option is going to have a strike price of K1, and the second position is going to have a strike price of K2. Now, which one of our position input has this shape that we have here? The first shape that we have here is going to be our long put, right? Because the long put is profitable when the value of the line is low, so that's why we are profitable here, and we are flat when the value of the underlying increases. We're essentially protecting our position in long stock, and we talked about that, a protective put strategy. So that's going to be the first profit structure. That's going to be that long put. And for our short put, we're going to take a strike price that's a little higher than that. And our short put is going to be that one. That's going to be our short put. And in this case, remember, the long put has a strike price K1, and the short put has a strike price K2, and K2 is always greater than K1. That is why we're working with the bull spread. So for the bull spread, the short always has a higher strike than the long, similar to what we have here, right? For the calls, we had the short call that had the strike price K2, and the long call had the strike price K1. For the put, it's essentially the same. The long put has a lower strike price, and the short put has a higher strike price, and the payoff is very similar. As a practice, what I want you to do is I want you to create the same table that we had here for the bull spread, this table, create that for a bull spread using put option. And essentially the scenario is the same. We have three zones, three price zones, and we are looking at the long put and the short put. The long put has a strike price K1, short put has a strike price K2, and what I want you to do is I want you to think through the payoff that we get for the long put, the payoff that we get for the short put for each one of these scenarios, and find out what the total is going to be. And then we can apply it to find what the profit can be and try to replicate the payout, the profit structure of the bull spread using put options. All right, we're going to look at the next sets of strategies, and the next set of strategies is going to be something that's very similar to the bull spread that we've looked at, but this time we're thinking that stock prices are going to fall, so we are essentially bearish in the market. So we're going to consider a bear spread. Now, you can essentially imagine that the bear spread strategy is very similar. It's just the opposite in a way of a bull spread, right? So in this case, we're going to be looking at put options, and then in the next slides, what we're going to do is going to look at the bear spread using call options. The idea is the same. Two options of the same kind. Those are two calls or two puts, right? And then one of the two is going to have a higher strike than the other one. When you're bull, the short one has a higher strike. When you're bear, the long one has a higher strike. So if we're looking at the bear call, the long call, which is that shape, has a higher strike of K2, and our short call, which is this here, is going to have the lower strike price. So when you're bear, the long is going to have the low strike. The long is going to have the high strike. And the short is going to have the low strike. And when you're bull, the long is going to have the low strike, and the short is going to have the high strike. That's going to be your bull spread strategy and your bear spread strategy. Now, in the previous example, we did the bull spread using calls. So what I want to do is I also want to work an example for the bear spread now using put. So let's go to our board, and this is what we're going to have. So we're going to be working with a bear spread, and our bear spread will be using puts. Now you could do the same thing with the call. Now let's go back to our slides here and see what we have. For our bear spread using put, what do we have? Well, we have a long put, and this is going to be our long put with a strike price K2. So long put has a higher strike price, and this is going to be our short put with the strike price K1. So let's go back. Long put here with the strike price K2. Let's make sure that I'm getting that right. There we go. Long put strike price K2. So we're gonna do long put here, and that will be our strike price K2. And our short put is gonna have a strike price of K1, which is gonna be smaller. So it's good to our short put something like this and like that. And this is going to be our strike price K1. So we have K2 here, and that's K1. That's our short put, and this is our long put. And so what we want to see is what's the profile for this for this strategy, the best spread using puts? Well, we're going to do something very similar to what we did with the calls on the bull spread. So we're going to split this in 3 zones. And we're going to say what is the behavior or what is the payoff if we are below the K1, what is the behavior if we between K1 and K2, and what is the payoff if we are above K2. So let's put the potential prices here. So our stock price could be between 0 and K1. That's the short put strike price. And then the stock price can be between K1 and K2. All our strike price can be above K2. Now we have 2 strategies here. The first one is a short put. The second one is a long put. What I want to do is I want to start with the one that has the lowest strike price. So I'm going to put the short put here, and I'm going to put the long put here. And at the end, we're going to have a total that is the outcome of the 2 positions combined, and we can take care of any premium after that if we need to. Now, on the short put, you receive a premium. That is this premium that you're receiving. On the long put, you actually pay a premium. This is how much you pay. So this would be an income, that would be an outflow. Alright, so what is this going to look like? Well, let's start with the short put. This is our short put. Our short put has a strike price of K1. What is the outcome of the long put with a strike price of K1? Well, the outcome of the long put is going to be the maximum of the strike price K1 minus the stock price and 0. That's our outcome. And we're going to take the negative of that for the short put. So what is the outcome in this one? K1 minus ST. The stock price is between 0 and K1, which means that the difference here is positive, which means that the long put with the strike price of K1 will be exercising the put option. So the payoff in this case is going to be K1 minus ST, but that has a negative value. So we can essentially say that that's going to be equal to stock price minus K1. That is going to be the stock price at that point in time minus the strike price, because you will be buying as the short put, you'll be buying down the line as the stock price and selling it to the long put at that price of K1. That will be your payoff there. Now, if the stock price is between K1 and K2, that is, if the stock price is right in the middle here, what are we going to have on the short put? Well, the stock price is between the two. What do we have? Same thing. Minus, I'm going to use a different color here, minus the maximum of K1 minus the stock price and 0. Now, K1 minus the stock price is going to be a negative value, right? Because the stock price is above K1, the stock price is above the strike price here, which means that the long put with the strike price of K1 is not going to exercise that, which means that the payoff is going to be equal to 0, and minus 0 is going to be 0. So we're going to put 0 here. And if the stock price above K2 is going to be the same as what we had earlier, so it's also going to be 0 here. Now, how about the long put? Well, with the long put, remember what your payoff on the long put is going to be. The payoff on the long put is the maximum of the strike price as K2 this time minus the stock price ST. That's the long. And so if the stock price is between 0 and the first strike price, that's the strike price of short put, the difference is going to be positive. That's the maximum between that and 0. The difference between K2 and the stock price is going to be positive. The long put is going to be exercising the option. So the outcome here is going to be the strike price 2, that's K2 minus the stock price. If the stock price is between K1 and K2, that is somewhere here, that stock price is still below the second strike price. And if the stock price is still below the second strike price, the option is also going to be exercised. And so if the option is also exercised, the outcome is going to be at K2 minus stock price as ST here as well. Now, as soon as the stock price exceeds the strike price on our long put, that is, the stock price is right here, the option is not going to be exercised, so the payoff is going to be equal to 0. And that's what we have. Now we need to add up all this position. And so the total here is going to be the stock price. That is going to be the sum of this. That's going to be, so here we're going to have ST minus K1 plus K2 minus ST. So these cancel each other. What we are left is K2 minus K1. So we can delete this and write back strike price 2 minus strike price 1. Now, here's 0 plus strike price 2 minus stock price is going to be K2 minus stock price ST. And then the outcome for the last scenario is always going to be equal to 0. Alright, so let's try to put some numbers to this. Let's say we're just going to be making up these numbers really quick. Let's say we have a stock price. We have a the long put with a strike price that we're going to call, remember our long has a higher strike price, right? Our long has a strike price K2. So we're going to say K2 is going to be 35, and our short put is going to have a strike price K1, and I'm going to say that's 30. I'm going to say we pay for this put option. That's the long put. We pay $3 for it. That is, we spend $3 for it. Actually, let me just keep it as positive value. That's P2. And put 1, we say we sold it because that's a short put. We sell it for $1. Now, what is the outcome in this case? Well, this is what we're going to have. On our short put, our outcome can either be the stock price, that's ST, minus, use a different color here, it can be ST, that's the stock price, minus the strike price, that's the K1, that's 30, minus 30. And on our long put, the outcome would be, that is K2, which is 35, minus the stock price as ST, and the total will give us K2 minus K1, which is 35 minus 30. So that outcome would be equal to 5. Now, on the second, that is if the stock price is between 0 and 30. If the stock price is between 30 and 35, what are we going to have? Well, on the second scenario, the outcome is going to be equal to 0 here. On the short put, we're going to have 0. That's what we have here. On the long put, we're going to have K2 minus the stock price, which is 35 minus the stock price. And overall, what we're going to have is K2 minus the stock price as well. And so it's going to be K2, which is 35, minus the stock price, which is ST, whatever the stock price ends up being at the expiration of this contract. And finally, when the stock price is above 35, on the short put, we're going to have 0. On the long put, we're going to have 0. And our outcome at the end of the day is also going to be equal to 0. And so that is going to be the profile that we are looking at essentially. And so if we were to draw this, how would we put this together? Well, we would not put this together without accounting for the premium. So the way we're going to account for the premium is to say that, well, for the long put, we had to pay $3. And for the short put, we receive $1. So our net premium is going to be, we pay $3 for the long put, and then we offset that by $1 for the short put. So our net is going to be a spending of $2. So overall, what we're going to find is that here we're going to subtract $2 from this payoff. So we're going to have a profit of $3. Here we're going to have to subtract $2. That's going to be 35 minus $2 minus ST. And the 35 minus 2 is 33. So we're going to say 33 minus stock price. And here we're going to subtract $2, so we're going to have minus $2. Alright, so let's draw the profile for this position. Well, if we had to draw this is what we're going to have. We're going to have our $30 here, so that's 30. That is going to be 35. Now, between 0 and 30, our outcome is always going to be equal to $3. And so we're going to be at $3 no matter what. So we're going to be flat $3 all the way to the point where we reach 30. So that's going to be $3. Between 30 and 35, our outcome is going to be 33 minus the stock price. So for us to have a profit of equal to 0, what do we need to have? We need to have a stock price that's equal to 33. So 33 is going to be that break-even point here. And when we are past 35, our outcome, our profit is always going to be negative. It's going to be minus 2. So past 35, we're going to be somewhere here at, so this is going to be plus 3 minus 2, and that is going to be only when we pass 35. So it's going to be about that. So our profit structure is going to look something like this. Where this is our break-even, and our break-even point is going to be at 33. That is between 30 and 35. When we are past 35, when we're in this zone, we are always losing $2. So we are maximized, if you will, our loss potential at $2. So it's going to be minus 2 here always. And when we're below 30, we're going to be having a profit of $3 always. And this would be our bear spread using put option. Now, early on we worked on the bull spread using call. And now bull spread using call look just what we have here. And what I asked you to do is to see if you could play with this and come up with the payoff for a bull spread using put options. In this case, we're working with a bear spread using put options. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to do the same thing, construct a bear spread using call options. Now remember that so far we've been working with a European option. Okay, so we've looked at the bull spread using call. This is what we looked at, bull spread using call. And we've also looked at, and this is the outcome that we had, and our outcome was 0, ST minus K1, K2 minus K1. And we just also looked at the bear spread using put. And the outcome that we had on the bear spread using put was K2 minus K1, K2 minus the stock price, and 0. Now we can put together these two strategies and construct what we refer to as a combined strategy or a box spread. And so the box spread will be a combination of, actually maybe I should write that down. A box spread will be a combination of the two strategies that we looked at. So it's going to be a bull spread plus a bear spread. Now the difference is that we're working with a bull spread using calls and a bear spread using puts. And so what were the outcome for both of these strategies? That way we can figure out what is the outcome of a box spread strategy. So we had three scenarios. So we had 0 to K1, and we had K1 to K2, and we had K2 and above. And we had two strategies, so it's going to be bull spread, and then we have bear spread. Now we remember that our bull spread uses calls and our bear spread uses puts. Now let's remember what the outcome on our bull spread using call options was, and we're going to go all the way back up there, and we're just going to copy that. So our bull spread using call had this payoff, right? So this was our bull spread using call, and this is the outcome that we had. So it's 0 stock minus strike price, and then strike price 2 minus strike price 1. So what we're going to do is just going to copy that down here. So that's going to be 0 stock minus strike price 1, and then strike price 2 minus strike price 1. And this is the outcome of our bull spread using call. Now our bear spread using put is what we just did, and the outcome of our bear spread using put is strike price 2 minus strike price 1, strike price 2 minus stock, and 0. So we're going to do K2 minus K1, and then we're going to do K2 minus stock price, and then we're going to do 0. Just verify that. K2 minus K1, K2 minus stock price, and K2 minus and 0. That's going to be our payoff for our bear spread using puts. So what is the outcome of our box spread? Remember, the box spread is a combination of the two. The box spread is a bull spread using call, and a bear spread using puts. So the outcome of our box spread is going to be the sum of this. And so the total is essentially going to be, remember we add this too, so it's going to be K2 minus K1 plus 0, so that's going to be K2 strike price 2 minus strike price 1. The outcome of the second scenario is going to be the following. Well, we have stock price here, and we have stock price, so we have stock price here, and we have stock price here, and that has negative sign. So these stock prices are going to cancel each other. We have a negative sign here and a positive sign there, so it is also going to be K2 minus K1. Actually, let me just rewrite this and do that properly. So this would be stock price ST minus K1, that's that, plus K2 minus ST, that's this. Now, these are stock price plus stock price minus stock price, they cancel each other, so we are left with K2 minus K1. So we can play this and simply say that is equal to strike price 2 minus strike price 1. And the last outcome is going to be the following, which is K2 minus K1 as well. K2 minus K1 as well. And so what we see with a box spread is that we have a flat outcome no matter where we are. So our outcome is more like a certain outcome with the box spread. And in this case, it is similar to investing in a zero coupon bond, essentially. So the value of this position is simply going to be equal to the present value of this outcome. If you remember the discussion that we have with the principal protected notes, we invested this given amount today, we found its future value, and future value was essentially the face value of our investment. And so what we, or investment in bond. And so what we did in that case is to find the price of the zero coupon bond in which we were to invest. We essentially computed the present value of the amount of money that we were hoping to earn at that point in time. In that case, that was 1,000. We computed the present value of 1,000. In this case, we know what the outcome is going to be, and our outcome is always going to be equal to the difference between the two strike price. Remember, we have two different strike price, and the strike price is higher. K2 is always a higher strike price. And so the value of this box spread here is going to be the difference between K2 minus K1, and we're going to find the present value of that by doing the following, computing the present value. And I'm going to write value of a box spread. There we go. Now the box spread only works if we are working with the European option, and that is because we want to ensure that we're unable to exercise the option before maturity, before expiration, because if we did, then the payoff might not be exactly what we expect here, right? So it can only work, especially for the box, with European options. All right, so I'm going to stop here for this, and in this video what we did is we went over a series of other strategies. So we essentially touched on our bull spread. There we go. Bull spread using calls, and we also touched on our bear spread using put, and we put the two together, bull spread using call, bear spread using put, in order to construct what we now know as our box spread. Now remember, the outcome of box spread is flat, it's the same no matter where we are on that graph, and so it is going to be always be equal to the difference between the higher strike price and the lower strike price, and therefore the value of that box spread strategy or box spread portfolio is nothing else but the present value of that outcome. And so to find the present value, we simply multiply by the present value factor, which is the exponential of minus the raised rate, the interest rate into the raised rate minus the interest rate, and the time till the options expire. And you remember, in this case, we're always working with the same underlying, and we're always working with the same maturity. All right, I'm going to stop here. I'll see you in the next video to talk about a few more strategies using options. See you in the next video.